Hello there. I want to thank everyone for watching this recital, and I hope you're enjoying it so far. The last offering on this program is a brief demonstration of the Indian classical vocal form known as khyal. Before I give a brief performance in raga shuddh kalyan, I'm going to offer a brief discussion of this form and how I went about studying it. I hope you'll find this information illuminating, but if you're not interested, you're welcome to skip the video ahead a couple minutes and just enjoy the singing. Before saying anything further, I need to clarify that I am only a humble beginning student of this art form. I present this brief demo as proof of study of this subject matter, and I hope some of the immense beauty of this tradition comes through in my performance. However, my demo should not be confused for the real thing. If this genre interests you, I urge you to seek out recordings of its great masters or of the many amazing musicians working in Indian classical music today. Indian classical music is often divided into two main traditions, the North Indian or Hindustani and the South Indian or Carnatic. This will be a demonstration of the North Indian style. The first aspect of Indian music that listeners should be aware of is the concept of Gharana. Gharana derives literally from a term meaning household, but within Indian music it refers to a lineage of teachers and students. Each lineage has its own idiosyncrasies in its approach to presentation and in its rendering of each raga. My primary teacher for this project is a wonderful young Indian singer named Arul Seth. Arul belongs to the Kirana Gharana, and therefore the mode of presentation as well as the interpretation of raga shuddh kalyan that I will present conform to the style of the Kirana Gharana. My primary UCLA faculty mentor overseeing this project has been the sitarist Rahul Newman, who is a student of the Imdad-Khani Gharana. Through studying with him, I have witnessed a little of the variation that is possible from Gharana to Gharana, but the style demonstrated here is primarily derived from the Kirana Gharana. The next key concept for the listener is the concept of raga. For those with a Western training, a raga can be understood as akin to a mode or scale, but with many special distinguishing features that make it much more complex of a concept than merely a mode or scale. By way of demonstration, let me discuss some of the features of the raga I will be presenting, raga shuddh kalyan. In the Kirana Gharana style, Shuddh Kalyan is primarily a raga of pentatonic character, as reflected in its arohana, or ascending structure. Sa re ga pa da sa. The avarohana, or descending structure, conforms to what we Westerners would call the Lydian mode, with a raised fourth as follows. Sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. But simply knowing that the scale is a combination of pentatonic and Lydian structures does not communicate the full character of Shuddh Kalyan. The character of a raga is also delineated by its emphasized and de-emphasized notes. In Shuddh Kalyan, the notes of ni, the 7th scale degree, and tivra ma, the raised 4th scale degree, are notably de-emphasized. Even on the descent, these notes are presented without niyaz, meaning without standing on them. Instead, these notes are usually only suggested during a glissando or mind from the note above to the note below, like so. Sa dha pa ga. These sliding means from sa to dha and pa to ga are also indicative of some of the key character of Shuddh Kalyan, differentiating it even from other pentatonic ragas that may contain the same structure of notes or svaras. Other typical movements that highlight the character of Shuddh Kalyan include the tendency to touch on pa when moving between re and ga, that is to say, to suggest the 5th scale degree when transiting from the 2nd to the 3rd or from the 3rd to the 2nd, as follows. ga re, or re ga. As the tempo of the performance increases towards the end, particularly in the fast runs known as tans near the end of the performance, these special characteristics of the note handling tend to kind of compress or fall away somewhat, and you will hear Shuddh Kalyan as essentially during that section having 5 equally handled svaras on the way up and 7 equally handled svaras on descending passages. Within the whole range of classical and semi-classical styles that include such genres as Drupad, Ghazal, and Tumri, we are focusing in this presentation only on the genre of khyal. What I will present in this rendition is an abbreviated version of a typical khyal presentation. In general, khyal concerts contain 2 large sections: the Bada khyal, which is presented at a very slow tempo, and the Chhota khyal, in which material is presented at a quicker tempo. For this rendition, I will demonstrate only a Chhota khyal. The general progression will be as follows. I will begin with a section known as alap, which is slow and meditative, without pulse, and in which the structure of the raga is unfurled slowly with long-held notes. You will hear my voice accompanied by the drone instrument, known as a tanpura, although an electronic tanpura in this case. I'll be singing akar, meaning open vowels with no text. I will then proceed to sing the bandish, or composition. I'm singing a bandish entitled Baajo re Baajo mandalra. Baajo re Baajo mandalra is set to a rhythmic cycle of 16 beats, known as teental, the most common rhythm cycle, or tala, in North Indian music. I will be accompanied by an electronic tabla, the paired kettle drums of North Indian music. The meaning of the lyrics will be translated in the subtitles, but it's important to understand that in khyal style, the music is not intended to express the meaning of the poetry in the sense we would recognize from Western art song or opera. Rather, the words are understood mainly as a structural framework and are used as a source of syllables on which to sing the melodic and rhythmic elaborations. The first line of the bandish, which is the most oft repeated and serves as a refrain, is repeated a few times, followed by some variations used for laikari, or rhythmic play. Then, I will sing the entire first 4 lines of the composition, which collectively are known as the sthai. The sthai in a Chhota khyal is a 4-line unit, and its musical setting explores the purvang, or lower half of the octave. I will next sing a couple more elaborations on the raga, or bol alaps, using the text of the first line of the sthai. Once the raga has been unfurled up to the upper sa, or tonic, I will sing the second half of the composition, known as the antara. In Chhota khyal, the antara is generally another 4-line unit, this time exploring the uttarang, or upper half of the octave, and into the upper or second octave. After presenting the antara, I will sing a series of tans. Essentially, these are coloratura runs demonstrating melodic patterns and rhythmic play. Some of the tans I will sing on sargam, that is the Indian solfege syllables. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. And some I will sing in akar. As a beginner making my first forays into this art form, I have learned the bandish variations, the alaps, and the tans by rote. It is important to understand that professional artists in this genre are not presenting these elements from memory, but are usually extemporizing them spontaneously based on their knowledge of the raga and the tala. For a more advanced khyal singer, the sthai and antara would be the only elements that are fixed ahead of time and committed to memory. I hope you will enjoy my humble offering in raga Shuddh Kalyan. Sugara sugara nare nare mile kare hi anand rasa gauri mandalra baajo re baajo re baajo baajo re baajo baajo re baajo baajo re mandalra baajo re baajo re baajo re baajo re mandalra baajo re baajo baajo re mandalra baajo re baajo re baajo re baajo re baajo baajo re mandalra baajo re baajo baajo re baajo re mandalra ek samadhina sana chauka pura ek samadhina sana chauka pura ek samadhina samadhina ek samadhina sana chauka pura ek samadhina sana chauka pura ek samadhina garadara hi harava ek hasa hasa bhisa lauri sandalara baajo re baajo mandalra baajo re baajo baajo re baajo re baajo baajo re baajo re baajo re baajo baajo re baajo re baajo re baajo baajo re baajo pamagare sa baajo re baajo dasare sare ga baajo re baajo pada dasa sare re ga baajo re baajo mandalra baajo re baajo baajo re baajo re sa Baajo re baajo sa ni da ba ma ga re sa Baajo re baajo mandalra Baajo re baajo Baajo re baajo Baajo re Baajo re baajo mandalra Baajo re baajo pamagariga Baajo re baajo pamagariga da pamagariga Baajo re baajo pamagariga da pamagari sani da pamaga Baajo re Baajo re baajo mandalra Baajo re baajo mandalra Baajo re Baajo re Baajo re Baajo re baajo mandalra Baajo re baajo mandalra Baajo re Baajo re Baajo re mandalra Baajo re Baajo Baajo re Baajo Baajo re Baajo